I got another book actually, which is called Beowulf and the North Before the Vikings, in which I argue that Beowulf gives us rather a good picture of the historical situation in the early 6th century, which of course is when we could identify the setting of the poem as that. But there's been a lot of archaeology. And one thing I've got to say is I was very obliged to a number of Scandinavian archaeologists who told me all kinds of things and sent me off prints and whatnot, which I would never have seen otherwise. And it made me really pretty convinced that that there was a core of information in the historical sections of Beowulf.
I mean, I suspect so. I think that it speaks to a curious, almost forgotten chapter of English history where there is still some contact with the North before the Viking invasions.
Yeah.
These are distinct cultures, but still related cultures that are still in some kind of contact some way or another, maybe with migration still happening at some
one of the things that Tolkien said, which I thought was very astute, was he said he thought that the really original thing and the really striking thing about Beowulf was the way that the poet had picked a particular era, a particular quarter century to set it in, which the way I put it is this was the era just before, for Scandinavia, the roof fell in, because the 530s are described by Franz Herskend, the professor of archaeology at Uppsala. He says he called it the cold decade, when there was a Fimble winter, and half the population of Scandinavia died of starvation. And at the same time, they had a whole string of disasters. One of them being, of course, the Higelac expedition, which went down. Well, all that makes, in a way, very good sense. But I tell you what, again, I was at a conference in Leeds, donkeys years ago, and it was terrible. We went to a session with 3 papers, all of which might as well have been drowned at birth. And at the end of it, I was talking to the guy next to me, who was in fact Franz Herskend, the professor of archaeology. And I said something like, one of the strange things about Beowulf is right at the start when it says that Scyld Scefing took away the mead benches from many tribes. And I suppose that really means you're kind of destroying their halls. And Herskend looked at me and he said, but that's exactly what we're finding. And that's well, I could only say, now I know what he meant. I can see exactly what he meant. And it is an important part of a process of nation building, I guess, where small tribes, Helmings, Wulfings, Brondings, whatever, are taken over by the dominant group, which is the Scyldings. And they are then massed together. And then they start to call themselves Danes, Denna.